Welcome to the Isle Chat podcast with me, Beth,
Josh,
and Ryan.
This podcast is all about exploring the big questions, the small moments, and everything in between.
Whether you're stuck at the shops, in traffic, or just looking for some inspiration, our chat is here to keep you engaged.
It's time to talk, connect, and find meaning in those everyday moments.
Welcome to the Isle Chat.
We're back. We're getting Doug back.
Wow.
We're the three best friends that anyone could have.
Beth, shut up.
Thanks, Matty. Thanks,
New
Matty.
year, new me and all that.
I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it to myself.
You missed out.
How's things?
Cool. Just want to say, before we go into how's things, just want to welcome all the last year's viewers back. This is, funnily enough, season 2. We're going to call it that.
Season 2.
Even though we only did 9 episodes in the last one, and this one's going to have about 50.
Stranger Things only has 9 episodes, so you know what I mean?
Let it off. But I just want to say to everyone that did listen last year and to all the new listeners this year, thanks very much. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we've got a lot of exciting things hopefully planned for this year. New people coming on to chat, new spaces to visit.
It is. It's all going off.
Things are coming.
At the moment, if you are wondering again where we are, we've ended up in the office space of. I'm like looking for which camera to look at. That camera. Yeah, we've ended up in the office. So if you're seeing it in the background that looks a little bit weird, it's probably because of me. So I do apologise about that.
Are we talking about? I don't know if you can see it on my.
No, just don't.
Not this thing. This little on here was an additional prop, which I was lovingly provided. But I'm talking about the plethora.
The shrine.
Harry Potter memorabilia, which sits behind me, yeah.
Listen, don't be telling people there could be Harry Potter fanatics out there who come to my house.
Listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
We'll charge entry to come and see the office, see all the merchandise.
It is like a bit of a mini museum of recent nostalgia.
Yeah, the nieces and nephews love coming in here, don't they, for that reason, like. But I'm a little, like, Scrooge with it. I'm like, right, you've had a look, now get out. Don't look with your,
don't touch that.
Look with your eyes, not your hands, get out.
Don't touch that.
It's like that. I'm not trying to relate this against. I'm the worst for doing this, but I always try and like relate things to weddings. But it's similar on a wedding morning with the kids.
Don't touch the dress.
Don't touch the dress. You know what I mean?
That goes for everyone, doesn't it? Not just the kids.
Yeah. Stay away from the dress.
What was the one that we went to? Was it in
that one?
Hampton by Hilton thing in Chester.
Yes. Doubletree.
The last one that we went to, the Doubletree. The last one, shout out Doubletree, Heighton. Doubletree, Chester. Anyway,
it's what happens when you cross the border into Heighton. You forget where you are.
Yeah. But when the last one that we did together, and they had the dress set up on the wardrobe, which was just inside the door, and it was all panned out. So every single person that walked in the door was like shouted at, weren't they, before they even took a step.
Why am I like having brain fog here?
No, because our last, it was Poppy's, but it was on the window. It weren't on the door.
Oh, maybe it was someone else then.
Who are we thinking of? Helen?
Wasn't Helen?
No, I'm thinking of Bethan and Nikki's. Bethan's dress was all out right by the door.
Maybe
the loves.
Maybe I've got brain fog.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's been a while.
But wherever the dress is located, it's do not enter.
Do not enter.
Don't touch.
You might as well put tape round it, mightn't you?
I wouldn't be surprised if I walked in and you see like that tape, what like the police set out.
Caution.
Yeah.
No, but it's good because some venues actually have like designated areas for the dress or like rooms just to get ready.
I don't understand why they all don't have one.
I know.
Well, coming on to this
is just like a little hook on the wall.
That's all you need.
Honestly,
one of them little tacks. What are they called?
Command strips.
Command strips. Not sponsored, by the way. Shout out Command strips.
All these frames that are up by Command strips. So if you do want to get in touch, we'll promote. Now, I always think that, especially when you go to a hotel, that obviously is a hotel and it's a hotel for like 5 days a week, but then the weekend they have weddings on. I've always thought this, and we've said it, haven't we, with like Doubletree, the Chester one, not the Heighton one, the Chester one. They have got like a bridal suite there, which is like purposely made for brides, isn't it, essentially, and grooms. And yeah, I always think just a little touch, as you've just mentioned then, of like the hook. If we were ever to get married, I'm not trying to throw that in quickly. It's 2024.
That ring for Christmas
Season
now.
2 going in.
Would that make you choose the venue on the back of like the bridal suite?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think some venues are made for weddings, obviously, but they just think of the most finest details, and it's so simple. You just think that's such a good idea. Even like plug sockets are right there by the mirror, so when the girls are getting their hair done, you sat in front of the mirror. Yeah. It's just so many little details that you would never think of that make such a big difference. on your wedding day and look aesthetically pleasing.
I think aesthetically pleasing is another one, because as like your memories, and when you look back, you want it to look like clean as anything and very neutral.
Well, I think any creator who's worth the salt is I think the right turn of phrase, are looking for things like symmetry and like clean lines and stuff like that. So if it's all bunched up in a corner and not on a specific designated area, it shows. And it doesn't make it harder essentially, but it just, you know, could make it easier if you did it the other way around. I need to say about this, like obviously we'll know that there's a little cut between what we were talking about and now, and this will show in the video, but you know, we had to for sound, whatever. But it's just something that's just become, it's just something that's just become very apparent, and I think the viewers will be, this is a clip already, and I haven't even started it.
Go and get another banana.
No, this is...
I don't even need to. So can we just point out that our friend Josh here and Beth, so we was just eating a banana, little snack in between.
Yeah.
I've got the evidence here. So he's eating it, and then he eats the last, you know that last like tiny little bit of a banana where it's like the seed.
I didn't taste nothing. I don't know what seed you're on about.
Ate that, and I will guarantee 99% of the world population will cut off the end of the banana in their hands and snap it off and then eat it. And I don't know why, but I think most people do that. But these two freaks,
but I actually feel like I actually do that now.
But why though?
Because it's a bit like mouldy, isn't it? Like discoloured.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's a different texture. It's like it is like a seed.
I'll be.
No, I do think I'd like.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
You don't eat the pips and apples.
A tree will grow inside you.
To be fair, Jews eat it like that though, whole.
Well, he's only seeing him doing what he's saying, isn't he?
Hating for you. Hey?
For you, different breed.
I'll totally be honest with you, right? I'm being serious now, by the way. I don't think that's a big deal. I think I wouldn't be surprised if... Not. I think we need to put a poll out there.
Well, there you go. There's your first poll of the year. Fucking hell, well done.
Because, I know, he's already... That's one swear word in. We need a jar here. Put a pound in every time. You'd be skint.
Yeah, you be skint.
That's threw you off, hasn't it?
That's threw me off. That's a poll, that. Because I know 99% of people do not eat that end. I feel the last 10% of banana just goes in the bin.
Can I take the photo now while we're doing it?
Of course you can.
Right.
Could you not take a picture with it on that piece of toast though as well?
No, I want you to hold it like that. Yeah. I'm going to do this actually while we're doing the podcast because I want people to understand, like... Am I okay to put down the story?
Of course, yeah.
Right, okay.
Do whatever you want, son.
You just carry on talking while I just put this up.
Come on, anyway, back to the wedding-related podcast.
Oh yeah. Where was you up to? So, should we talk about weddings of the week?
Weddings of the week. Go
on. Last time, our podcast...
Sorry, can I just ask for advice for this poll? What am I writing? Who eats... I'm not putting seeds.
The end of the banana.
Who eats the end?
The last 10% of the banana.
Who eats the end of the banana? B-A-N-A-N...
B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Weddings
of the week. So obviously it's January.
Yes.
So unless you're very lucky, you might not have a wedding of the week at the first week in January. Some people have. I've seen it out there. But for us, we didn't have any weddings of this week. But we did have some weddings at the final weeks of the year.
Yes.
Which will become our weddings of the week today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, you had one, didn't you? Where was yours?
We had Beth and Dan.
Yeah.
Me calling her Beth like we're best mates. But she does listen to the podcast, so hopefully she appreciates us.
What's her name?
Rebecca.
Shout out Rebecca.
Rebecca and Dan.
Rebecca and Dan.
And it was at Mitten Hall.
Mitten Hall,
yeah.
I've never been to Mitten Hall.
We hadn't, to be fair.
It was our first time there. It was really nice.
Touching on the Harry Potter theme, this was the place that I put on the story regarding the like when you first walked in. Okay. Matty loved it. A lot of other people got in touch and was like, "Oh my god, Gryffindor," vibes, because it was just the fireplace was on. It was still obviously they still had the Christmas tree up. It was just really cozy, nice to walk into to start your. You know what
I thought though, because obviously the wedding was the 27th of December, literally just after Christmas, and I thought on the way to the wedding, I wonder what today's going to be like, because it's just being Christmas. Obviously everyone normally likes to relax a few days after Christmas. Like, is it going to be a party? How's it going to go down? And I just felt like the minute we got to the venue, you just forgot it was Christmas. It had just been Christmas, and it was just all about their wedding day.
Yeah.
And all the guests just went for it. Everyone had a good time, and it was boss, wasn't it?
Yeah. Considering, like, as you say, it was that close to Christmas, you do think that it's still going to be Christmas as a talking point, and it was literally like Christmas didn't happen.
I think it's like that. I think Christmas is all about the build-up, and then once Christmas Day is gone, Christmas is over.
Never spoken about again.
It's weird.
But yeah, it was a class day, and her dad was Scottish, and I think it's really nice when you like play homage to, like, you know, cultures and, you know, people's like heritage really. Yeah,
it's the word.
And they had bagpipes, so when all the guests were arriving, they had this like lad playing on bagpipes outside, and it was just, even from a filming point of view, it just created a bit of like a cinematic filming experience for us to sort of have that like
Play
natural
that
sound over, like, you know, the dad seeing his daughter for the first time. It was really nice. And he was this tough Scottish fella, and then the minute you seen his daughter, as
did they have kilts on?
Yes.
He did.
And he did, and their little boy did. So the bride and groom's little boy had matching outfits on, didn't he, with the granddad?
Because aren't the kilts like specific to like the family lineage or something like that? They're coloured in a specific way, I believe.
Really, yeah.
If any Scottish people are listening, you can confirm that for us. But
Have you ever done a wedding? Like, with the
one or two, yeah.
Let me finish. Have you ever done a wedding where the grooms wore kilts? Because he did, obviously.
Not off the top of my head.
Is it true that they actually a
They're not meant to
commando?
wear. Yeah, they're not meant to wear anything because it's like
Traditionally.
two Scotsmen.
But on the 27th of December, when it's like -2.
wait for it. The sporran, which is the little bag that they have here.
And what does that represent?
None. Well, I actually don't know. I'm not Scottish. But what I was alluding to before is, you know, obviously kilts, we just associate tartan with kilts.
Yeah.
Tartan is the pattern design, not the colours, because the colours can be different depending on the family lineage.
Here we go, guys. A bit of history for
Any
you.
Scots people want to get in touch and tell us?
I
the full
want someone
ins
who's
and outs?
Scottish to get in touch and go, you've got it all wrong.
Yeah, he hasn't got a clue what he's talking about.
Don't listen to a word he's just said.
What YouTube videos have you been watching?
Before we go on to your wedding of the week, I just want to give a little shout out to me cousin Lauren, because she was at this wedding, Beth and Dan's. We didn't know beforehand, so it was one of them where you turn up, you're like, oh my God, what are you doing here? And nice one for getting makeup on me, jumper, really appreciate it. Wedding of the week.
Wedding of the week. Wow, what a segue that was. Wedding of the week for me was unusual, not unusual at all really, on New Year's Eve itself, 31st. Didn't stay till 12, so didn't miss out on New Year's in a typical sense, although I did, because we'll get on to that. But yeah, Jed and Michelle.
Shout out Jed and Michelle.
Yeah, shout out Jed and Michelle at Hard Days Night Hotel. That wasn't meant to rhyme. Boss,
Did it rhyme?
I know, I'm like...
Michelle, Hard Days Night Hotel.
Oh,
Loose rhyme, you got it. It's more
Michelle
like poetry.
Hotel.
It's more like
Slow
poetry
down,
than
Slim
rhyme.
Shady.
I know. Can't stop, Michelle. No, yeah, good day. I can't even count on all my hands and all my toes how many bridesmaids they had. They were like flower girls, right?
I didn't count with
How many
your
hands
toes.
have I got? But like, yeah, I walked into the room a little bit later start than normal, to be fair. And I was walked into, close to about 13 kids who were also bridesmaids and flower girls, and then bridesmaids. I think there was 3 or 4 bridesmaids as well, adults. But I love that venue. I think as someone who's a fan of the Beatles, which we alluded to in previous episodes, if you watched,
The little Beatles song that you mentioned.
I love the Beatles.
With the Beatles, I'll be honest, I don't listen to any Beatles music ever. I'm not a big, massive music listener myself personally. But when you leave the city and you go to somewhere like, you know, far and wide, and you get speaking to someone and you hear how much like the Beatles has meant to them or their parents or whatever,
Influence.
you start to feel proud and like, oh my God, they're from where I'm from.
I remember watching James Corden, Carpool Karaoke, and Paul McCartney was on it. Sir Paul, if you don't know him well. Like
If you're listening.
Yeah, if you're listening, yeah, shout out Sir Paul.
Good evening, Sir Paul.
Yeah, that made me think, God, like, what a life that they lived, and like what a stance they put on the world, and
From a working class family, really, aren't they?
it's just nothing, just
Obviously,
like a normal street in a normal town.
They were in a posh area though in Liverpool as well. Gotta remember that.
Well, yeah,
Heighton.
yeah, Heighton, yeah.
Yeah, you just see all the tourists coming up and down the street, don't you, on Pilch Lane?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you feel proud to sort of associate where you're from.
I think
with
there's
them.
certain venues in our city, and I was literally only speaking about this yesterday at a wedding fair that I was at, about 30 James Street, shout out 30 James Street, about how steeped in history our city is, and you kind of take it a little bit for granted if you're from here.
Yeah.
But when you talk about it in this way, and you realise just how much we've got on our doorstep.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I worked in 30 James Street years ago, many moons ago, and when obviously I was on shift or whatever, and I was walking around, you're speaking to guests and stuff, or even in the weddings, I used to always learn a lot through like people's stories of like, you know, oh, this building, my nan worked in here, or whatever it might be, and all the staff tell you stories. And I've always said this to you, I love 30 James Street, not because of work there or anything like that, just for how iconic that building is, and like the history behind it all. And even the vault, I know the vault's like a bit of a party room or whatever. In a way, I wish it wasn't, because it sort of ruins how, like, you know,
it's historical
that
authentic.
vault actually is, because that was this. This is not a. We are probably history today, aren't we?
Yeah.
But that is a sister vault to the one that was supposedly on the Titanic. Do you reckon?
well, I was talking to...
No, just listen to that history.
No,
The
I was
sister
talking to...
vault.
I know.
It was on the Titanic. Then it's getting now used as a pool party room. How disgusting!
What a
is that?
sign of the times that is.
Oh my
But I was
god!
talking to a fella yesterday in the Bentley, shout out Bentley. I can't remember what his name is because I've never officially been...
Ryan.
Not Ryan.
Jay.
Is that the fella, the other fella with the glasses?
Glasses, yeah.
So I was talking to Jay from the Bentley, shout out Jay from the Bentley, and he used to work there as well at one point, and he was telling me all about the columns that go through like the main grand hall. They actually come from in the basement, and they're like complete steel, and they're the same steel product, if you like, or girders that are used on the Titanic ship. And also there's 2 furnaces upstairs in 30 James Street in like the restaurant area, and they're like old furnaces. I think they use them as like a bit of a display now, but those furnaces are exact replicas of the larger furnaces that powered the Titanic itself, made by the same company, still got the same branding on, they're just reduced in size. How's about that?
Tune into next week's history lesson.
I don't know if we can even talk about this, if this is something to talk about. We've obviously skipped on from that. Wedding of the week.
That wedding of the week.
I'll come back to you, Jen Michelle. I've never forgot about you. But is that getting took over?
So
30 James Street?
yeah, I was doing a wedding in early December, and I spoke to my own manager there, Rebecca, who I used to work with at James Street.
Are we allowed to talk about this, by the way?
Well,
We're just only showing our...
Too
it's
late.
not like a gossip podcast, is it? But I do think it's been taken over by a new company, not Signature Living anymore, and I think they are trying to refurb it again,
I think
to
it's a
start
brilliant
again.
building. We've said that every time.
Honestly,
haven't
Yeah, it's
every time you drive down,
we? Steeped in history, looks beautiful.
yeah, and
It's
you see it. It's, even the skyline of like in the dock area, that building stands out to me. I think that was the only building like still standing as well.
Yeah, I think so. It was in the Blitz, I believe. It was all completely destroyed from a certain floor upwards.
Inside,
You can still see the chart, because a lot of the ceilings in there are actually fake ceilings now. Didn't know that either, did you?
Here we go, kids.
honestly,
Back in my day.
this is such a term for like.
I know, I feel like I'm back in school and history
Yeah.
lesson. Like.
Another little bit of history repeated.
I've had the worst little like feeble
Get it
cough
out.
even.
Anything else to add to the wedding of your week?
Wedding of my week. It was the wedding of the week and the last wedding of my year, which was an incredible year, and topped off by 2 loving souls who were just dead. Like, I mean, a lot of people are like this, and I think this is a repetitive thing that we seem to get, is a lot of our couples are very open to us, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like they let themselves out, and I think I say it sometimes on a lot of the posts when I do like the next day teaser stories and whatever, and I say like, thanks for letting me into your world. But everybody does, like,
Yeah.
there must be something around the type of clients that we get, that they just want us to be the mates, and vice versa, because we went off for like couple shots and we couldn't go outside because, I mean, what's this storm that's passing over at the moment? I don't know what it's called, but it was like a storm outside. It was raining, like the raindrops were like that, they were thick, so we couldn't go outside, and we couldn't go on the little balcony thing that they've got in like the bridal suite, if you like, where the piano is and stuff. You know, it's a music hotel. But we used like the foyer, which has got this lovely open staircase,
Yeah.
and boss, like
I think it's
really
iconic
good,
for that building, isn't it?
Really
That
good
staircase
pictures to end the year. Ended on a high. Why not?
Yeah.
And yeah, they was just dead loving, dead welcoming. The kids were all dead sound. They were like 7 or 8 or something, but they were like 45 in their head. Do you know what I mean? It freaks me out how like old kids are now. They're just dead wise to everything. And the kids were showing me like the TikToks that they were doing and everything for their mum on the Wednesday. This was boss.
Yeah, nice.
Little trend. We're on air. Topic of the week.
Yay!
Topic of the week.
Topic of the week. Whey!
Topic of the week. Centers around a few things, but I think the topic of the week is kind of what our weeks look like at this point in the year. So we've already touched on it a little bit. In these like early months of the year, January, February especially, obviously it's just been Christmas. Everyone's got married, whatever, towards the end of last year. Everyone's skint, January, February. So not a lot of weddings do happen. Not for us anyway, as far as I know.
Yeah.
My first one isn't until March. So
Same.
do you know what I mean? So it was all around what we do in this time. Like, what is this time used for from a creator / venue / vendor point of view? Because I think we're all in the same-ish boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like obviously mainly family, but they always say, "Oh, when's your next wedding?" And we say, "Oh, not till March." They go, "Oh, you've got loads of time off. Bet you're bored." And I'm like,
No,
"We may not
quite the
have
opposite.
weddings, but we have a list of endless
Yeah.
things that we have to do daily."
Yeah, I think as a bride and groom's perspective, when they're
Well,
thinking about January and February time, because that's what happens at the end of the year, you know, obviously they're starting a new year fresh, and for them, I'm not speaking on my behalf, I'm speaking from a bride and groom's perspective, they go, wow, we need to get ourselves our acting gear basically now, because it's time to book the suppliers that we want, you know, start getting really our planning boots on for the wedding. Because some people are getting married like the back end of 2024 or, you know, 2025, and they can... The minute you turn that into the next year and you go, we're only a year away.
You flip the switch, aren't you?
It's just like a different headspace then completely. And as you know, it's like when everyone starts January, it's like, right, I'm going to the gym and new me.
I'm still trying to find that new year, new me. I haven't been in the gym yet, but you know, what are we? 22nd of Jan. We'll
Alright,
get there.
It's time now.
3 weeks
We'll
into the
get
new
there.
year, we'll be there.
Just building up to
I'm
it.
waiting for it to quieten down. It's probably really
Let all the
busy
people
yesterday,
go we
then.
want to do
Yeah,
that thing.
yeah,
Let them
yeah.
get out the system, and then we'll go when it's dead
Or
again.
with the new Christmas gym wear on.
Yeah. But I think for us, you know, obviously I know you've just touched on it and you have as well, a lot of our time is spent still editing weddings from obviously the December, November months, and marketing the business, selling the business. You've been doing a lot of obviously fairs. We've got a lot of fairs coming up as well.
Yeah.
It is all about like, and I hate the fairs for this because it makes you feel like you're selling yourself. But I think the reason why we do the podcast as well is it's just another way.
It's just
to
about
meet
trying
us.
to connect with
Yeah.
potential new couples, and obviously just trying to broaden like your work out more to reach those new people.
I think there's something about a visual element as well. And this is what we've said this before in previous ones. If you can speak to someone either visually, like over a video call, or like directly at a wedding fair, for example, I think it goes so much further in terms of like your connection as a supplier to that person. I literally said this, obviously I was at a wedding fair yesterday, and the same thing I keep on saying to people is the more you can speak to your vendors, the better it'll be, because you're building like a bit of a mini friendship around your day kind of, and the more engaged you are with each other, the more it works more than anything else, especially from our point of view, because there's nothing worse than when we turn up and the bridesmaids or mums of brides or whoever have never met us before. You're trying to create that from scratch then.
Yeah.
Whereas if we've spoken to like a bride or a groom or whoever beforehand as many times as possible, like at a wedding fair, you already feel like you know each other.
Yeah.
And I think this is what this has been doing for us, hasn't it? This podcast, so many people feel like they know us already.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just made me think about it then, really. I was going to save this to like more further down the line. But yesterday we got a booking off the back of the podcast, but they already booked you. I think they booked you along, like, you know, when they probably booked the venue, but they weren't too sure about whether to have a videographer on the day. And then obviously they've been listening to the podcast through you because they've booked you, and they probably want to get to know you a little bit more and see how you are and stuff. And then they've come to meet myself and Beth on the podcast and sort of come to like that.
How could you say no?
The conclusion of why are we not having a videographer, or why are we not having videographers capture our day, because it's a regret
Yeah,
that we don't want to have.
They just said, didn't they, that they obviously listened to the podcast and they heard us talk about moments that we've captured that have been so precious and how important it is to have these moments captured, that she thought, how can I not have a videographer now? So it wasn't essentially that she wanted us, even though we like to think that maybe it is.
No, I think it is. I think we always said, didn't it, that this is a good way for our personalities to get out there, because a lot of the time we are just posting about other people's days, which is fine because that's what we do. But the more they can see use, aka me as well, like as people, the more they can, like, I think what she even said as well, he said to me Chris said to me, away from like the connection to you, we just felt like they're just like us. They get us. They understand us.
Well, I think,
and they wouldn't know that from posts that you post about other people's work.
Yeah.
They could only get that from this.
Yeah.
So
true.
they've booked you, not... You know what I mean?
And I agree.
Well, thank you very much.
I agree with that, not trying to blow our own trumpet, like, but I do agree with that, because I've just went through our like correspondence with Emma yesterday, and she basically mentioned like she would be normally a nervous type of person thinking about getting filmed, which I think a lot of people are, even like bridesmaids and groomsmen who were involved. Sometimes you feel they're like a little bit nervous when we walk in, and then as you've just said, straight off the bat, we're already trying to build that connection with them so that they feel just as comfortable as obviously the couple that are getting married.
Rapport goes a long
But she's
way.
basically put, I'm normally nervous with the whole photo and video thing, but can already tell I feel comfy with you three guys.
There you go.
So
Perfect.
No more to be added with that.
stop the podcast, I'm off. Done it all. But yeah, with that like January period, and obviously I know I'll touch on it, we actually did a blog on our website about this the other day. I haven't even told anyone.
Oh my God.
Did a blog, because I do think, and I'm trying to touch into the SEO world. That's how you want to put it. You know, just a little breadcrumb for people who know what that means. Or if you don't, go and Google it. But you know, from your perspective, you know, you've been married. When January hit, did that change anything for you? Did you feel that like we need to get
After or before the wedding?
Like before
Before.
so like planning wise.
You literally... I've said this on one of our other podcasts, like January is like a reset for me. It feels brand new. It feels fresh. It feels like you've got a lot to do and can do, and rightly so.
Was you panicking?
I wasn't panicking because we'd already had ours pretty much 90% boxed. It was just last few little paying things off.
So the people who haven't planned it, listening to the podcast in January.
Sweating. But can I just say as well though, so ours was in May, right?
Yeah.
And we'd already like done all the legwork really, because all we did is kind of shifted everything that we'd already done from COVID world. So all we've done is shifted it along. So we weren't sweating because we'd had about 3-year break nearly.
Yeah.
But I met someone at the wedding fair yesterday. Yeah. I met someone at the wedding fair yesterday who their original plan was to elope to Anglesey and it'd just be like them and the kids. And then they've completely changed their mind over Crimbo. Can I say Crimbo? Scouse enough to say that?
Well,
over Christmas, and they're now not eloping in like later this year. They've brought the whole wedding forward to April, and they've chose the venue, chose the vendors, chose so they're doing everything in 4 months. Everything.
did you need a videographer by any chance?
I mentioned it.
Oh,
I did give them a quote. So Stephanie, if you're listening, remember that quote I sent you? Don't hesitate, girl. But she said she's going to let me know by Thursday, because the app. This is what I mean. So I was speaking to Ryan of the Bentley,
rock and roll,
right?
man.
Ryan of the Bentley. They haven't even like. He was trying to give them like what their day looks like, how to plan it, like their itinerary of what they would normally, like their pitch really, and they were like, "We're sold. We're paying for it." Like they just lashed the money down. Do you know what I mean?
I think I would be
Just
that
wanna get
person.
They just wanted to get married. It became more than just like, what can we have like this? What can we? And don't get me wrong, Stephanie herself, I hope she doesn't mind me saying it like this, like I know her, and I spoke to her for 10 minutes. She was like,
Me and our Steph.
big, Steph, I like to call her, big on Pinterest. She'd made herself a mood board. She knew what she wanted. Like, so.
Would you advise that to people listening?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, it depends on how organised you are and how much you know about what your dates look like. Some people, like we've said before, some people think about this for their whole life.
Yeah.
So they already know or have an idea, if they've been to other people's weddings, what they can get, how they want it to be.
I think
the main thing is cost, isn't it? It's obviously...
It's all down to cost.
It's all down to cost, but I think there's like pros and cons. Like, I think it would be hard planning a wedding for years, even though that's what most people do, because you probably would change your mind on like details
You do.
that make a big difference.
And you just, I think when you're going through that whole planning your wedding part, you put in all the bits that you thought you wanted, and then if there's any time left, all you're thinking is, should I be putting something else in?
Yeah.
You're just adding to it. Like, how many last minute bookings do you get?
A lot.
Yeah.
And
You
lucky,
get a few,
we
don't you?
do get a lot of last minute bookings, but lucky like for us, I was just trying to think like, you know, when you're saying about your planning process and you have things planned for years and stuff, and I just think it's mad because you've just touched on it then when you say, when you go to someone else's wedding, you see what they've got and you go, oh, should we have that or shouldn't we have it? And I always think, you know, for like, obviously touching on us, we're not married, not even engaged, but I always think...
Right there, that's not going without getting spoken about.
Yet.
Didn't you get a ring at Christmas, Beth?
No, not yet. But he chose the right hand. Still waiting,
She left
you know.
No, it's...
Still waiting, but you know.
Anyway,
yeah.
As we said, you know, when
Moving swiftly
I
on.
know. Do you know what? The minute
You're
took
never
that,
getting away with that.
the minute
ever.
you took that back, I lose me. Like we say the thought.
You'd be lucky to marry me. People must think I'm desperate on this podcast, but you know, you'd be lucky.
Wowzer.
Can I have some more water, please? No,
Can I
but
have a scotch?
for us, and even like, I know you're married now, but it's because we film a lot of weddings and we basically spend a lot of our time at weddings. It's mad how that changes you, like what you want and what you don't want. So I think for people who are listening, who are planning or have already booked us and stuff, and we're talking about things, even just listening to us say things what we think would be good or you know what we wouldn't have could even influence them.
Yeah.
Definitely need a videographer though. Definitely.
Yeah, I'd say.
But yeah.
Back to planning then for the next few months.
Wait, can I just say something that this is a scenario? So talking about like booking things, very loose connection this, but talking about booking things and what our years look like, a lot of things we do in this time is we get an influx of bookings, don't we?
Yeah.
A lot of people wait until like your January, February's for 2025 probably, but a lot of people also for this year.
Yeah.
Can I just say a point? And I know a lot of our other creative friends touched on this all the time. If you've got an idea of someone that you want, whoever it might be, vendor-wise, and you're thinking, yeah, they're for us, but I'll just wait until, don't wait.
Yeah.
Please do not wait. Everyone's talking about it lately. I feel like it's a proper taboo.
But I think if
of not booking the thing that you know you want and waiting.
But I think when
I'll tell you a scenario that's happened to me.
Well, I think with that, if I was a bride and groom watching that, I go, it's just a selling point. But from the other side, as the person who's telling you, and I know what you're going to touch on now briefly, well, not briefly, you're going to tell us a story about it, a monologue. It can become that thing where they go, oh my God, yeah, you filmed my sister's wedding and blah, 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 and now, like, I'm getting married and I've been thinking about booking you for ages, but just have the money for the deposit and this, that and the other. So can I book you? It's my date. And you're like, it's gone. Yeah. You know, I'm not. You know, it's so. I know. Money is like the reason maybe why they don't book it in the first place. But it's.
But that's the reason why we have such low deposits.
It does. But it doesn't break me heart. But I also think like
no, it does.
We had like I can already feel we already had that connection anyway before you even got in touch.
Well, this is what I'm sensing throughout our little speech that we're talking about so far. It's our connections to these people that wedding fairs create. This podcast possibly creates. And like just the chance meetings of being at other people's weddings or whatever. It for us specifically, I know we can speak for all three of us, four of us, that we are like a very connected guest to have. I'm not even going to say we come in and obviously we shoot your wedding in the way that you want it to be shot, but I like to think more than that. And we do build these mini friendships with our couples. Like you only have to look at the review that you got yesterday, how much it means to people and how much you've become part of their life and their story. And I'll tell you about the scenario that I've now got. So I won't tell it as long as I told you because that was a 4.5 minute thing. But I basically had someone whose wedding I shot and their friend off the back of that wedding wanted to book me, which is a scenario that happens time and time again, thankfully. But this girl, I think, was pregnant, so obviously she had a reason to not like jump straight in. Yeah. But she's let it wait and stew. And she had the date plans and she knew what she was getting married on and stuff like that, but she didn't book me. So I'd had that initial conversation around what that day looks like, how much it would cost, I've made an inroads to that person's life. Okay. And then at a fresh inquiry came through on Instagram over the weekend about the same date that this person was initially talking to me about. But she hasn't booked, but this person, the new fresh one, is dead keen to book. And it leaves me in this like limbo zone of, who not that who means more to me, but like who is it fairest to allow that date
I'll
to
be
go
honest,
to.
well, I've done this in the past because it has happened a few times where we've penciled someone in, and what I mean by that is they haven't booked and they're not secure at all, so it could go to somebody else. I'm not saying like bank on that, but if I know someone else is keen or seems keen, I will always pencil them in, and then if I get a fresh inquiry, I'll always give them the chance and say, listen.
Well, this is what
It's so hard though, isn't it?
So this is what I did. I went back to the person who made the inquiry and said, listen, I went back to the person who's originally spoken about the date. Went, listen, someone's coming in for your date here, and I don't want to be like chasing you and be pushy, but you definitely want me to do it because obviously from a business point of view, we need to get the work locked in.
Yeah.
Sadly,
Secure.
it does come down to sometimes like that.
But then
business
it's
end of it,
like
doesn't it?
we've already made investments into you, and like that friendship has already became like a small mold. And then it becomes that it's hard then because
You're loyal, aren't you?
we're loyal to those people. Like,
Yeah.
So
It is hard.
So the whole point that I'm getting to, which is a loose wrap up, is don't sit around on the people that you want there, whoever it might be, whether it be photo, video, dresses, whatever. Get these people booked in, and yeah, obviously money is a massive factor, especially at this time of the year. But even if you could, like, I don't know, borrow it off your mom or dad or whatever it might be, because most people only take small deposits because all they want to know is that you're
investing that, you're investing them.
Even sometimes like them just emailing regularly and being like, look, we can't afford it right now, but we really want you. If anyone inquires for our date, just please let us know and we'll try and figure something out because we really want you.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So they're always in the back of your mind thinking, well, they seem really keen. They obviously want to book me.
And from, someone who, we're not planning a wedding, nothing like that, but I think for the photographer side of it, if you want that photographer, and I just know from, you know what you do, you just go, I'm booking that because I'm afraid that they're going to get booked up. And to be honest with you, it's not even about them getting it booked up. It's more like, I just want you to know that I've got you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But
if it was you, what would you do? Like, because there's interest in this, because obviously we're no closer to you being married, clearly. But like,
what would you do?
What would your like planning strategy be? Would you be like, would you know, and would you be keen to book people like early, or would you have an idea? Because obviously we've got a lot of choice now because we know so many different facets.
I feel like I would book what I wanted to book there and then and put deposits down there and then, because how I feel about it is I don't want to wait 12 months after booking the venue and then start trying to book suppliers, for the reason being the suppliers that I probably want aren't going to be there, or they're going to be booked up or whatever. And also, as you've just touched on then, the deposits are not going to be as steep as, let's say, the remaining balance is going to be.
And then also you've got longer periods of time to pay off the remaining balance.
You can pay as you go. Like, I know some suppliers do take that, and I know you wouldn't. Same for us. I'm not trying to talk about like how payments work and stuff, because that comes when it's like a conversation of booking but just touching on it now while we're talking about it, really, is you can pay as you go. Like, it doesn't really bother me.
No,
I don't.
Well, I always say in my like spiel, if you like, once I've sent people the contract through, is we're expecting you to pay your final balance a month before, but I always leave in that line or any time before that. Yeah, because we're people. No one's got however much money sitting around to just go lump in 1 month, spread that out however much you want. Like, it makes no difference to us, really. But the other thing that I was just thinking about then when you were talking about booking your suppliers early is vendors,
very American, that word.
I know, yeah. Vendors. We change based on the landscape that's put in front of us. So if, say, for example, someone's booking us for their wedding in like 2025 or 2026, and some people in 2027, we're already trying to think about what the world looks like then, based on like what our prices will be. And every other venue is probably no different. Yeah. So if you book us early, there's a large chance
you might get a better price.
Just a little insight here, you'll get a better rate,
I think,
for your final balance than you would do if you waited a few months, because
it changes, doesn't it?
We've changed a bit in the last 6 months, I would say, depending on what people got us for. Like, we did some weddings last year, I know we did, that people booked us like a long time ago before, and they've got us for like a steal, based on like our trajectory, how we feel we're going.
And also, as you know yourself, you know,
A little tip there.
It is a little tip.
Tips and tricks.
I think, hey, don't steal me line.
To round up this conversation, or maybe escalate it even further, I've got a statement about if we ever got married.
There we go.
And I think, this is not advice for anyone, but this is just my opinion. I think if I really, really, really wanted the supplier and didn't want anyone else, I would make sure they were free on my date. And
Before if
they weren't, I would, if I was someone that I really, really wanted.
Like,
What do you mean? Explain that a little bit more to me. I don't think.
So say I really wanted
Me?
Yeah, you to shoot my wedding, and we were getting married on the 5th of September, but you weren't available on the 5th of September.
Right.
I would potentially move my wedding date to
Really?
leave it free. Yeah.
Hey, that's dead interesting, isn't it?
I wouldn't.
I don't.
Good to know you're both on the same side.
No, I
Do you not
think.
No, that's a very. Yeah.
I'm not saying move your wedding date. I'm saying before I secure my venue, are you free on this date?
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not going to go, right, I'm moving the whole wedding because they're not
I know.
free.
Do you know what? I actually do.
Do you know what? Funnily enough, I don't think I read it like you were saying it.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
either.
happened. That's
Well,
happened
that's
a few
that's
times.
the-
That happened to me
And
yesterday,
that's not
funnily
me
enough.
being, that's
Yeah.
not me trying to sound like a diva and be like, if I want them and I'm going to move
Yeah.
the world for them. It's not. It's just like, if you really want someone, just see if that they can fit in with obviously the venue and your date, because obviously some people do get married on specific dates like that are meaningful to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ever would. Personally, I don't. I think we just get married whenever. No
We'll
certain
fit-
date of the year.
We'll fit it around all your weddings.
We'll fit it.
Married in
That's just
January.
me,
But we do get a lot of inquiries on. No, just to round it up, we do get a lot of inquiries that are very like teasing like that, where they go, we haven't booked a date, but we just want to see if you're
free.
if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
free around these dates.
That's what I was thinking about. Actually, that does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
we've
we
had
haven't
a
officially
few
got our
saying
date
like,
yet, but
we want to book for August, but what days are you? What Saturdays have you
Tell
got
me-
left?
tell
or
me your
whatever.
Saturdays that you've got left.
well,
and all
it's
this.
integral, isn't it? A lot of things don't shift. Like venues, obviously book up in advance. Photographers, videographers book up highly in advance, and we are like probably some of the bigger reasons, some of the biggest things, biggest investments that people make towards their day. Struggled there, didn't I? Struggled.
Investment.
But even yesterday, like I was talking to Ryan at the Bentley about their next wedding fair date, because he says he's got one in February.
Is that his second name?
Ryan at the Bentley. Yeah. He getting very Bentley heavy this one.
Hello.
It's only because it was yesterday. But he said about, are you free on such a date? And I was like, oh no, I've got a different wedding fair at a different venue, which will remain endless. And he went, oh Sam, let's see what other dates we can do then. So he was almost willing to move the weekend of their wedding fair for me specifically. Now,
You're the one I love.
don't joke about that. That was, do you know what? Off the back of that music thing, some of the brides who sang that song to me reached out because they listened to it and it was like,
Oh, girl,
don't worry,
they always
don't-
think about you when I listen to this.
They actually said, "Don't worry, Ryan, we've got your back. Don't listen to him." They said,
Sorry. Reviews of the week. It's a new segment. That was my performer coming out. Yeah, we just thought, while we haven't got many weddings to talk about coming up in the future, obviously we're going to be sending a lot of work back to our couples, and obviously even ones that have been in the past that have sent us really, really nice reviews, and we haven't had like any time to talk about it on the podcast. We want to just give them a little mention and say thanks again for obviously just reaching out. And
I just think this week in particular, these past few days, like we've just had so many really, really lovely reviews that like we feel like we can't not share them with people.
And I think it's nice as well to sort of, take ourselves back to their day, and even just to say again a big massive thanks for taking time out to type a review and let us know how much it's meant to them, because you know what it's like once the wedding's done and they've got the stuff back. It's so easy just to be like, we really loved that was amazing, and then you forget to tell the people that
that went into it.
Yeah, and that happens.
And that for us as well. And you don't have to look at these. Maybe the people who are listening don't see it, but we see it because we follow like other photography or videography pages or whatever. But you see all of these like memes about like when you've done all of this like 12, 13 hour day for like your couples, and then you spend forever like thinking about what the images look like or what the videos look like. You put like your heart and soul into it, and then you give them it back, and then you never get like a thanks or anything, which is fine because obviously they're just living their lives. But I mean, all you think in your head is, oh my god, they ate it, oh my god, it's crap, oh my god, what could I have done better, oh my god. But if someone gives you like a lovely glowing review,
yeah.
it sinks in, doesn't it? It reminds you why you're doing what you're doing.
It's worth all like the long, because obviously we go and film the wedding day, and the wedding day is amazing. It's such a lovely day to work, but then nobody sees the hours of editing behind, the late nights that we're doing constantly, and I just think it makes it all worthwhile when you get reviews like this.
Do you want to read it?
It's a big one.
I'll read it. It's from Olivia and Luke, and obviously there's a lot of mentions of Ryan as well because it was a joint package day. But this was just after they received the full film from us. I did ask, was it okay to share this review? And she said, yeah. It starts with, wowee, utterly lost for words, our incredible film. You are a credit to your profession, and we are so, so blessed to have found you for our day, our perfect day. The memory box is stunning, beautiful. The thought you've put in is so personal, it makes for a beautiful keepsake. The photos are also a great touch, and the sweets and popcorn are fabulous. We're currently on our 4th watch, and my God, it's just amazing. There are no words. We've said it feels like it only happened like just yesterday, and we're in a wedding bubble again. We've laughed and we've cried, a lot of happy tears. So you captured the most perfect moments that may have been missed if you hadn't have been there, and honestly, we cannot thank you enough. The music fits so well, and we love the confetti scene. A day full of happiness, love, and very, very cheesy smiles from me. I'm so glad our happiness and love has shown throughout. We're nearly 12 years together and still so clearly in love. It's quite something seeing that on film. We really do hope that you enjoy sharing our special day with us. As I said the other day, we're sad that this is it now. Our journey with you has come to an end, and we have no more memories of the day to come, but we are so grateful it was you both, as well as Ryan, to video and capture our day. You've brought it all back to life for us. It's so magical. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My bride here, it might be over now, but we'll be tuning in to the podcasts. We wish you both all the very best for the future. All our love, Mr. and Mrs. Illingworth. How nice is that?
Oh, cue Beth's tears there.
You read it out because you were like, let me read this out to you, because we both seen it at the same time, but you read it out last night, and I got goosebumps when you read it out to me, and I've just got them again, and I just
That's
think...
great, that.
I don't think I've ever got that off a review, goosebumps, like, it's so lovely.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
We have got a few others there, but I'm half tempted to save them because obviously the Loves sent in a really... I feel like every time we mention the Loves...
You can't say it in way, can you?
You've got to say it in that way, but they sent in an absolute diamond of a review, and I feel like I want to say that again, but I just don't want people to listen to my boring tone voice being like, thank you so much. Do you want to do it?
Beth can do it. Can I do one for me though?
Yeah,
first?
of course you can.
Split it up.
Let me just wean me
it's only because I've got it and I'm holding it because it's in my stories. Obviously you can see my reviews on my page if you go to Rolling Stop. But this is a recent one, and again it's a joint one that we did together. But I'll just read it out.
Okay.
Like you read yours out.
Yeah.
So this is from Hayley.
Yes.
Hayley and John.
Yes.
Recent one. Obviously a joint package for both of us again. But Hayley wrote, Ryan, yesterday all felt a blur and I felt rushed a response to you as soon as our teaser photos were in, so I needed to reiterate how grateful we are. Even from the meeting we had prior to the wedding, we knew straight away we'd be in good hands. You'd make us feel comfortable. We were absolutely right. We can't stop looking at all the photos you've sent so far. You know you have a good photographer when every single photo is your favourite. And we've wanted to post these photos today but can actually not decide because we love them all. Loads of exclamation marks. You often hear that photos taking up so much of your day and you go missing from your guests for hours, but I honestly don't feel like we were away for any more than 10 minutes, yet you still managed to capture the most amazing shots, and so many of them too. Truly believe our day wouldn't have been as amazing as it was if we did not have booked you, Josh and Beth. Thank you so much, Hayley and John.
Goosebumps again.
Lovely. And that's not even it. That's only off the teasers. Do you know what I mean?
It's nice, isn't it, when you're like, so lovely, you've got that to just remind yourself. I think sometimes when you obviously aren't getting people, people receive the stuff and, they're busy, as you said before, they've got lives and whatever else. And sometimes you sort of go, did they not like it? And then when you are getting reviews like that, you just go, I'm doing the right job. I'm here to do this job because that's how much it means to people, and that's how the impact, and even like just your approach on the day. I think the photos are everything and the film's everything that they've got to hold forever, but I think your memory on the day, if that person's capturing your day, is an absolute beep, and you think back and go, they ruined that experience for me, like everything about it.
I often tell this story when I'm at wedding fairs or when I'm on calls about one of my mates who got married and I was the best man for. they had a photographer in, very well known photographer, which we won't put any names to, because I don't want to put a negative on them. It's not fair. They were doing a job, and I personally think on review did a really, really good job. But talking about like the person as well as the work, they're almost two separate things sometimes.
Yeah.
And this person shot my friend's wedding day, and as I say, the pictures were lovely, but he didn't spend that much time getting to know them as a couple there once, or even just get to know them on the day and like read the signs of like their body language or whatever. And off the back of it, he said, we had an amazing day, it was a boss day, but when we were getting our pictures took, we were gone for, in our opinion, too long doing stuff we wouldn't normally do. And like, it kind of put a bit of a damper on the whole day, which is strange really, because like you said, that's all you've got left.
Yeah.
Is your photos and film. So if your experience, the photos might be lovely, but if your experience with the person wasn't there, it's half the battle, innit?
But then also when you look back at the photos, them memories will stick.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
that.
Yeah, and I think as well, if they're making you do things that isn't you as well, because that's like, for example, some photographers have their like...
Well, some couples don't hold hands. Some couples, it's just
Yeah.
they think
Some
they
couples
just don't
have a
hold
first
hands.
dance. Some couples
And it's like,
don't
if you're
kiss.
like, right, come on, hold hands. Like, oh, we do not hold hands.
Yeah.
Like,
But as you know, some photographers have that like trademark thing, like this is my shot, this is what I do with every couple, and they're not changing the ways to sort of suit for each couple's needs and wants.
It's just like a blanket approach, innit?
Well, yeah, it's not their day, it's the couple's day. So I always, with this podcast, I think when we started thinking about doing it, a lot of it was to give people a heads up and be like, just because the work looks great doesn't mean that they're great as people, and they're going to do what you want to do. So I always feel like that's a big eye-opener for like, if you are booking your photographers and videographers, to make sure that they will suit you.
Yeah.
Suit you.
Your personalities need to match as well as your idea about what they do.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
And we say they because we're not talking about us. Like we always said to me, this is a good way for us to get us out there, but we're just talking about it from an
inside scoop.
We're unbiased,
isn't it?
You know what I mean?
It's an inside scoop as well.
Of course it is.
To sort of like what we think about things, and like we're around weddings a lot, so we have a lot of opinion on things as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention the Loves review, or do you want to save for next week's episode?
Might as well mention the love in case it's both of us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Unless this one's just what I use.
Well, it was another joint package.
there's like a 2 parts to it, because obviously we responded in the middle. So
Okay.
I'll just... Right. So we sent them their best bits films, just they're still waiting to receive the full film. So she put, oh my God, Beth and Josh, are you effing kidding us? This is out of this world. Oh my God, this is absolutely unbelievable. And if it has 300 hits by tomorrow, don't mind me doing an all-nighter with it on repeat. Thank you both so much. Your talent is out of this world. You just got us and the vibe of our day, and you have captured it to perfection. We are obsessed. Thank you both from the bottom of our hearts. So we responded with a nice message, which I won't read that because we'll be here all day. So she's then put, honestly, the feeling is totally mutual. We genuinely couldn't have picked anybody better, and we are absolutely thrilled. We feel like we've made new mates, Ryan included. How lovely. So again, thank you all, and we really do hope our paths continue to cross with the three of you. We will recommend you to everyone we know. You are genuinely the best in the business.
Oh, nice stuff.
Everyone who's listening's going, they've definitely read them 3 reviews. Or us three just like, I think the reason why we wanted to do it was because I think some people just like to hear what other people's experiences were of us three. And I think them 3 reviews all were joint packages, which are quite nice really, to sort of, give each other a little shout out. So, are we going to move on to our last segue of the week?
Question time. So we've got a couple of questions here. So the first one is mainly to us. It says, when you post on socials, but it could be you as well, who's behind it, Beth or Josh or both? But same for you, because a lot of people have other people managing the socials.
I wish I had someone.
No, I think the person who's asking this question, which is our good friend Abby.
Yeah.
Shout out to Abby.
She's messaged the aisle chat, so I think she's on about who's behind the aisle chat, social media.
Because she didn't put Ryan's name.
I want to say that.
Either way, let's talk about it all.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't make
who
no difference,
manages all the social medias?
So I'll say that from a roll and stop point of view, there is nobody else at all gets involved in anything that I post. Nothing.
ChatGPT.
Not the captions, not even ChatGPT. Not the captions, not the picture choice, the time of the day. Nothing is chosen by anyone other than me. I'm on my own, totally on my own. So think about that.
And it's hard going. It is. It's
hard
hard.
going. I would, by the way, if you're willing and interested in getting involved in some sort of social media kind of scoop for me. I know, Becky, we've spoke about this before. Not my Becky.
We know what you mean.
Yeah.
The rights.
I would love to have somebody manage my social media aspect and post daily, do stories, do polls, that type of stuff. So if you're willing...
Matty knows. Matty works with, like... Well, not with...
knows.
I know.
I know, yeah, but...
You can't afford it.
Do you know what's funny? You know what the funniest part is? It's like, you know people in the industry, but you don't directly gravitate to them.
I think
Isn't
it's
that weird?
it's a big trust thing though, being able to trust someone to do that, because you want every post to be perfect, meaningful, like people to be able to connect with it. And that's why our social media and all our posts are run by Josh, because he's better with words than I am.
To be fair,
Don't you get involved at all now?
I do make suggestions, but they get turfed straight away.
I don't think they get turfed. I think what it is
I say loads, but it's all
I do try, but you know, he doesn't listen. No, it isn't. That isn't the case half the time. I think a lot of the time is, I think it comes from like starting off, when obviously I was starting off on my own, and like this isn't. And I think it's not a trust thing, but I think you have your own like way of promoting your business. And I think for us, it's our business. It's our business, and it probably is a control thing.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Josh's world.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think I like to do it. It's my favourite thing. It's like posting on social media, seeing the reaction, see the inquiries come in, or whatever it may be, and I like doing all that side of it. I
think I've seen this on a program recently. It was got nothing to do with photos or anything, or even anything. It was just to do with businesses, and it was, I think, a podcast about like someone trying to grow the company or whatever. And I think a lot of people who start from like the ground up, and it's originally just them, and they've had to like spread the wings a little bit. It's difficult to let go of something that you've done yourself for so long. It's just like habitual in your life that's what you do, and it's hard to let go of it.
Yeah,
because it's got nothing to do with trust or anything. It's just you
you have your own way, don't you? Like I do sometimes, and I sometimes is like 5% of the time get involved in some correspondence with messages and emails, but it is mainly you.
Yeah,
the posting
and the aisle chat as well.
It's definitely the poster.
The aisle chat's a bit of a mixed bag, I would say. I know you put the videos together, but
I think I do it all. I'm honest.
Well, let me just tell you.
I think I post everything.
Let me just news to you. You don't, because for weeks, for the first 8 episodes, I continuously changed the link in the bio around where it gravitated to. Also, I do the uploads to the social, not the social, but the Spotify and YouTube channels.
What about Instagram?
So,
what about Instagram?
Just saying.
Well, what you've caused,
every single post there in them that you know that little I think I post every single one. So that helps. And on the stories, I think I do every story.
I'll make it best for you, as I haven't posted anything, so...
Yeah. Ryan did one story with his hat on the other day, and then, you know, he thinks he's like...
I do it all!
But yeah, thanks, Ab.
I do all the things behind the scenes.
No, we're a collective effort, aren't we? We each have our own strengths, and we know how to play into those strengths.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for the question.
Our next question is... What is the most bougie thing you have seen at a wedding?
The word bougie.
Well, I actually googled what is the definition of bougie.
Too old for that.
Say that question again. I'm not down with all these kids now with bougie and that.
Most bougie thing you have seen at a wedding.
Bougie sounds like a drink.
So tell me what
so
bougie
it says
means.
Luxurious. So what's the most luxurious thing you've seen at a wedding?
At a wedding? God.
Don't start bringing the Beatles up again.
I know.
Nice.
History lesson 2.
I feel like there's a lot of like
luxury
things.
And this is like talking about gifts. I've seen someone.
It says
luxury gifts given, let me tell you.
But it says luxurious in lifestyle, yet humble in character.
Okay, yeah. So
that's the definition.
So I've seen this lad. Groom.
Do they go together?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen a groom gift his mum and dad, his wife to be, and his best man Rolex on the wedding morning.
Bougie.
So that was Yeah,
That's bougie, that. That's not going to say all, I'll tell you that. Oh, Becky asked me later, how was that tea? I go, bougie.
Bougie, that girl. Bougie. You're just bougie,
I
aren't you?
can't say it any other way than bougie.
See, I thought like bougie was like unique and like a bit out there. That would be my obviously.
Matthew
That's
Shane
I don't know. If there's,
Google's
I think
definition of
bougie is like a street slang thing, so I think it's different to different people.
To me, bougie would be showy.
Showy.
So the Rolex thing was a bougie
I
thing.
would say, yeah. I would
Okay.
say showy.
Yeah, humble.
Bougie.
When he was giving the gifts out, I was stood there
Not
behind the
humble about
camera.
giving 3
You
Rolexes
stood
out.
there like that.
I was like that in the Apple Watch.
Slide that off.
The face on it.
Any Rolex based.
I'm like that. What time has he got on your watch there? Because mine's not matching yours. Can I have yours?
It's hard because there's a lot of luxurious things that happen on a wedding day. So you see the nice cars, a lot of really nice cars, and I'm not into my cars, but they are nice ones, some of them. You know what I think I would like to see, which do you think a lot of photographers, videographers see, is a horse.
We've seen horses.
Gifted or like as part of the day?
Does she have a horse with her?
Yeah.
Horse and carriage.
Yeah, they will.
No, I mean where the bride gets on the horse.
Right,
Like
that-
the way they say the bride has a pet horse.
Is that even real? Because I've seen them photos.
Are we going into like Tory territory here? You allowed to say
That's
that?
bougie.
That is bougie.
Excuse me. This is an exclusive podcast. We're not bringing political
Labour only.
not bringing political parties into it. Now I always feel like when I see them sort of shoots and this is like
I think
this.
they're more styled shoots.
Yeah, we've had horse and carriages. We've seen that, but
Horse
then
and carriages, yeah.
I've heard brides saying, "Oh yeah, like I have a horse, a pet horse that I've had my whole life, and I wanted to bring them to the venue,
Nearly got ran over outside there.
but the venue wouldn't allow it, or they had to get something to cover the grids. What are those grids called? The cattle grids for the horse."
No, I do
Bougie
feel like
That's me.
bougie that mate.
I'm going to be thinking about that all year.
But that was Mimi Bellavent who sent that in, and just to give you
She sent some good questions.
Do you know
there
what?
go.
She's quite funny. Yeah, to be fair, she sent in a message. No, and just this
Shout out Mimi Bell Events, by the way.
this shout out, yeah, for you. And this goes to everyone else who was on our Instagram. You might have thought like we'd banished Beth to work in the snow. She sends him a message, and she had a funny message being like, "Why is Beth editing in the snow?"
Do you really
Like,
edit
Right,
outside?
your picture. Yeah.
I feel like I should put the picture here on the podcast so you can see what I'm on about.
Can you do that? Picture in picture?
Yeah, I can.
In story.
Because that'd be good for like, you know, if we're ever talking
Future.
about like weddings of the week.
You're just giving
We
me
can
more
just-
of an editing job, really, aren't you?
Someone at your experience should be no brainer.
Oh, okay.
But like, if you go, so I'm talking about Jed and Michelle, and a little picture of Jed and Michelle pops up from it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. I reckon we just have a green
Oh, you
screen
mean
behind us and put
actually-
ourselves
Yeah, why not,
in
yeah.
the Bahamas.
Back in the venue.
So as you can see, I'm just in Coleshaw Hall at the moment.
With my horse in the background.
horse. Bougie horse. Me bougie horse. Like that. Clippity clap.
Put a Rolex on me as well. Green screen and Rolex
Green
on.
screen armband.
Yeah, I think green screen could be the future of weddings by the side of things.
Well, hey, I got it.
But yeah, this is a
There's
nice...
loads of bougies. There's loads of like wines and champagne sprays. Quite bougie, isn't it? Luxurious.
Yeah, yeah.
That type of stuff.
I love that. I
Loads
love
happens.
champagne
Swords
balls,
instead of a
yeah.
knife to cut the cake.
Yeah.
A sword?
Semi bougie. Yeah.
That's not bougie.
Well, but it's more than normal. Luxurious.
I don't know,
And
swords.
that's why I think
Humble,
there's a
lads.
lot. There's a lot that happen that we probably not take for granted, but we see it, so we just think
Yeah.
that's not bougie, but it is.
Yeah, it's massively bougie.
Ice sculpture.
Ice sculpture.
Our sculpture's one. That's
Yeah,
bougie.
that is bougie, that, isn't it?
Bougie,
Yeah.
that, mate.
I just think it's a waste of water, that.
What the hell? Dad.
What meat
That's a bloody waste of water, that. There's kids out there.
On that note... No,
How much water goes into that?
how much are you paying for the freezer there? The letter of the freezer.
Where'd
No,
you keep that? What you do with it? Well, by the way, what you do with an ice sculpture after the wedding day?
well, yeah.
Is it melted by the
No, I
end
know
of
it
the
melts,
night?
but I mean, like, when
He's
you
just
let
that
it melt,
typical fella in the pub, and he Matthew melts. Melts.
straight answer.
On his
melts.
phone. Melts that, lads.
Yeah. Science, mate.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep it though, are you? You're
Well,
not take it home with you.
There's
Oh,
definitely,
you know.
I definitely think there's a frame involved that you don't see.
Depends how bougie that. If you're bougie enough, you'll put it in your home storage freezer and it'll just sit there.
Next to
for
Walt
months.
Disney.
Aw. Come with me.
That's not Walt Disney,
and
that's
you'll see
rolled
at
out.
last.
Not Disney.
Oh my god.
Did someone swear again then, by the way?
Yeah, £2 in the jar.
Can I just say, I went to watch Wonka just before Christmas.
Put it back. Put it back. There's no gold ticket in there.
Is it even a Wonka bar?
It was.
It's actually a... spoil the illusion. It's actually a Cadbury's Dairy Milk wrapped in Wonka chocolate. Out of date Dairy Milk bar. By the way, in the film, if you haven't seen the film, the Wonka bar that he has, how old's that? And he still eats it. Spoiler. Get on that though. Did you get on that as an adult? Talk about like that loads of water in that ice sculpture. How long's he held onto that bar of chocolate for? And it wasn't even in a cellophane wrapper. It was in a bit of tin lint. Fuming. At the end, I was like to Thea, don't ever eat chocolate for 6 years. 6 years old, don't ever eat that.
Check the date on the back. No, I think it's a nice way to wrap up the episode. But
I have one final thing, okay? No, this is... So we obviously put the poll out about the banana.
You let it go?
No way has that already come back.
Okay? So, 100% voted no.
Was it?
Yeah.
100% vote.
10% before. I put on mine, it said 90-10.
No, 100%.
No, it's not Beth on mine because I'm the
Well,
one who's voted.
let's just gravitate back to the prevalence of
Wait,
how Beth said that.
Has it changed now? Okay, well, when it was
100%.
The two votes
God,
that
it
was
is
yes.
screenshots.
The two votes that were yes was me and Many Box Films. So I done both.
So me and me. So
Josh
100%.
does all of the posts on his socials, by the way. So that's all.
As you can see, I do all the posts on the social side, so I had to defend myself really in that matter. And I feel like
indefensible.
I've come away from this podcast today learning something about myself.
Enlightened, you know.
That I can't eat the whole banana anymore. I feel like me next time I eat a banana, I'm going to be looking at it in a different light.
Going to be feeling judged.
I am.
But listen, let's just wrap this up very, very nicely into... Here we are in 2024. We've got massive, massive, massive plans, I think, for this podcast. And I think even our plans aren't even really in range because it's probably going to do things that we haven't even expected.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But we've got loads of ideas of loads of guests. Obviously, if you think of somebody who you might like to see on here, we have got no reservations for reaching out to anybody within this industry and just saying, do you fancy coming on? Because we're not shy. And yeah, we just want to thank everyone who's either previously listened or about to listen. Do you want to do your little
sign off? I've got no sign off, just thanks
again. Do you want to
again.
do sign off, Beth?
Thanks again for listening.
Well, I was going to say Happy New Year, but it's a bit late for that, isn't it? So,
Oh,
see you next episode.
Boss.